Listen to Bass FM 107.3. My name is Kid Coco. Got the boy Slug in the studio. What up, Slug?
What up? What up? Thanks for having me.
Do you know much about Bass FM there, Mr. Slug? Obviously coming to Auckland for the first time, you know. Or for the second time, I guess.
This Auckland, man, I've been here. It's like my 33rd time.
That's me doing my research, bro.
Been here a lot. Yeah, well,
Good
you know,
research.
I was quiet. I was sneaky a lot of the times. I was just coming here to eat.
Yeah. Hey, so you last came here in 2009. How come it took so long for you to come back, bro?
Because I was just trying to, you know, make sure that I was, you know.
You're a busy man, I guess. Yeah. You're a busy man.
I was doing my exercises, man.
Yeah,
I had to make sure that the next time I came back with some quality for you.
Nice. So you played Wellington last night. How was that?
Wellington was off the hook, man. Do we still say off the hook? Is that still?
Yeah, that's
okay,
still
cool.
That's still
Wellington
cool, bro.
was off the hook, man. It was a good time.
And the bathhouse was a good venue, and
it was, man. It was loud.
Yeah,
it was loud in there. And you know, there was a comedy show right before us.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool to watch some people crack some jokes and then go up there and rap.
Yeah, it's typically a bit of an indie venue, like kind of rock bands. But did you find that your sound was legit, or?
Yeah, no, it felt fine. Yeah, it worked out well.
Nice. So I guess we'll kick into the interview. The first question I have for you is, I guess you've been making tunes for a little while. Where did it all begin? Like, what was the tipping point, essentially, that got you motivated on the music buzz?
I mean, when I was a kid, you know, when we were in junior high, we used to hang out in the hallways at school by the lockers and just kind of crack other people's songs. And, you know, make up our own words to Lottie Dottie or a Run DMC song or something. And
right.
Even back then, just the attention that I would get from other kids for being able to come quick with words, it was validating. So I chased it, you know what I mean? And by the time I was in high school, I was trying to do real shows. I guess high school, I'd say that's when I got really serious.
That was the tipping point?
That was the tipping point. It's been downhill ever since.
What motivated you to express your music through hip hop, essentially? Like, was there multiple other genres that would have come out in Minnesota, essentially?
I mean, I guess it was the neighborhood that I grew up in. You know, all the kids, all the older kids that we looked up to, they were breakdancers and pop lockers and DJs and stuff. So being a kid in this neighborhood and being influenced by the older kids, it was like I wanted to make those kids proud. I wanted to, you know, come up and show them, oh, I could do it too. Just because I'm younger doesn't mean that we can't do it just like you older kids could do it.
Right,
you know?
right.
And so that was, I think that was what really pushed the desire.
Nice. So is Atmosphere and Slug, are you guys strictly hip hoppers, or do you get down with kind of other genres of music?
I mean, I listen to anything that's got good storytellers. You know what I mean? Like I don't listen to a lot of instrumental music. To me, I love music, but a big part of my connection to music is the words, the stories. You know, like somebody even like a Willie Nelson sings these songs of struggle, and I like songs of struggle. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it still comes from hip hop. You know, it's like I grew up on hip hop, and it taught me about, you know, communicating the struggle. So when I hear another artist from a different genre sing about struggle too, that's where I find my connection.
What does Slug's iTunes look like at the moment?
Right now, it doesn't look like much. It's pretty empty. I had to clean out my computer to make room for all of the porn.
Sounds good, bro. Sounds good. The next question I have for you, like, in your earlier years, did you find the fact that you were white rappers from Minnesota a challenge?
Nah.
Were there haters out there, or was it all good?
You know, not really. Like, growing up in my neighborhood, everybody in my hood knew that I actually come from a mixed race background.
Oh, right.
When it was time to introduce myself to people in other cities, it was at a time in the 90s where there were so many white rappers in the underground that nobody even flinched. We all, like a big Benetton ad, we all got along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't until probably like maybe 2002, 2003, when the backlash against backpacker rap began. That also became like a backlash against.
Can you tell the Bass FM listeners what backpacker rap is essentially?
I mean, I would say, you know, backpacker rap was kind of what it was, the label they gave those of us that kind of came out around the same time as the Raucous era. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So back in the day, we used to roll around with backpacks because that was the easy way to carry our 40s. You know what I'm saying? It was an easy way to carry some markers, or maybe you had some paint in there, you had your black book in there. You know, it was like we weren't allowed to have purses, but we still had a bunch of shit that we wanted to carry to the party with.
Fair enough.
And so when you would see these kids with the backpacks on, you know, imagine like Boot Camp Click, Buckshot and all them dudes. Right. They were kind of the beginning of backpack rap to me, because these were the dudes that, you know, we'd see rocking these JanSport backpacks, and you knew, I mean, dudes might have had guns in their backpacks. I don't even know, you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the time, we was like, well, what a good way to carry around paint. You know what I mean? What a good way to carry around our markers, carry around our beer, whatever else you had, you know.
Definitely. I guess, what did your family think about it? Like, when you told your mum that you wanted to be a rapper, what was her kind of expression?
She wasn't surprised. You know what I'm saying? She's seen it. She's seen the growth, and she's seen how, you know, how much money I'd already spent on records. It only made sense.
Yeah. So she was supportive from the start, or?
Yeah, she was always supportive.
Nice. Good stuff. I guess your hip hop is refreshing, and it cuts through your inner truth about society and paints a real picture. Can you tell us a little bit about your particular storytelling?
I mean, to me, I grew up listening to KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, you know, conscious rappers that were rapping about the struggle.
Right.
And so in my head, I'm still just you know, I'm a part of that. I'm a child of that. And so I try to make sure that struggle is still prevalent in the music that we make. Nowadays, I guess, you know, there's so many branches to this tree. It used to be just a baby tree with little branches. Now it's this huge tree with all these branches. I would say that the branch of struggle rap that I'm on is an internal revolution. You know what I mean? And a lot of my music kind of deals with, I guess, your own personal revolution within oneself. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I think it does.
Okay,
I think it does. My next question to you is, as a hip hopper on the international stage, do you feel you have somewhat of a responsibility to educate the youth about the concerns of the real world?
I mean, I wouldn't even say that's a hip hop thing. I think just as a human being with a voice and with people listening to you, I think that responsibility comes, you know? But not because, oh, you're so lucky to get to be a rapper, so therefore you got to be a role model, but more like, yo, I'm so lucky that I made it to 40 years of age, therefore
you're still doing good, bro.
I should be a role model.
Yeah, you're
you know
still
what I'm saying?
doing good. Yeah.
To try and teach the youth how to make it to this age. You know what I mean? And so, with that in mind, I'm not the kind of guy that would ever say, rappers, you have to be role models. I'm more like, you know what? If you're an adult and if you care about what's going on around you, then you should be a role model, regardless of whether you're a rapper or a plumber.
But essentially, the concept of being a rapper is so kind of alternative and anti-commercial. Now it kind of trusts into the limelight as a role model. I find that like a little bit whack, you know? Not whack, but it's just a bit out of it.
You mean are you saying being anti-commercial?
Well, I guess the concept of being a rapper and not being a pop musician is kind of, you know, you're not dealing with commercialism and you're not being a role model. Essentially, the media is kind of thrust you into a position of being a role model, and you know that concept. I guess it's a bit difficult to get the understanding of. For me personally,
I'm not sure that I totally understand the.
Yeah. Sorry, bro.
No.
Yeah.
I guess so. You're saying like, okay, for instance, somebody like me.
Yeah. So a raw hip hop artist. You know, they're all about the tunes and the music. They're all about kind of making, you know, stuff that is, I guess, like essentially an art form.
Right.
But therefore, you're thrust into the media where you become a role model. So that's my kind of notion, is that, you know, from coming from such a strictly raw art form to being a role model, is that something that you just have to take within the grace? And you just
I think you do have to take it, you know. I don't even think it just exists in rap. You could be an actor.
Right.
You could be, you know, you could be a rock star. You could be a painter. You know, at the end of the day, if your voice has become large enough that people care to hear what you got to say, I think that I think you should consider the fact that people are listening, and you should consider what you are giving them. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I would never tell another person what to do or how to do their thing. You know what I mean? Like we all deal with karma in our own way. You know.
Cool. Next question I have for you is, I guess today society's kids are exposed to a lot, and from a very young age, in some circumstances, advertising feeds kids' worldly inexperience. Do you think your music kind of opens up the younger audience to being more socially aware?
I mean, I don't know if it does. I mean, I hope that the things that we have to say can resonate with people in a way that would make them hungry or interested to go and learn some things about their surroundings. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I would never be so pretentious to claim, oh, totally, our music makes people. You know, I would never claim that. But I would be honored if it did. You know.
Do you know what a nanny state is? So it's a state where kind of people think that you know, there's so many commercial messaging out there. It's up to the individual to kind of educate their kids about society.
Right.
And I think your music in a way speaks to people because it educates them about the realness of society and the fact that, you know, it's not all positive, and you've got to be aware and you've got to be kind of conscious about what you do. Yeah. Do you agree with that? Or?
I mean, yeah, I do agree with that. I think that I try to make a point to put resolution inside of the music. You know, I want resolve in the songs. I would never just make a song. Maybe back in the day I would, but nowadays I would never make a song that tells a story of somebody without giving you the results.
Nice. My next question is about your record label, Rhymesayers. So you guys must be getting incredibly busy with that.
Oh yeah, this is a really busy year for us. We got a I Self Divine record that comes out next week.
Yeah.
And then Aesop Rock has a new record coming out in a couple of weeks.
He's the man. He's the man.
Brother Ali's got a new record coming out in a few months.
Yeah.
And POS has a record coming out towards the end of the year.
Nice. Do you think in years to come you'll focus more on running the label?
I hope not.
Yeah. Do you think you're still hungry?
I think I'm still hungry. I would love to make music for the rest of my life, but not only that, I'm not very good at organizing and
so you're not a businessman. You're not a slick businessman.
I'm a more of an artist. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm more of a flaky artist. You know, you learn which hats you're supposed to wear. You know.
Do you still have fun touring and kind of going to random cities and being in a radio studio with 5 random dudes that are interviewing you and like filming you?
You guys, I want to say that this is the most fun I've had in 7-8 years, easily.
Really?
Right now, this moment is. No, I really do enjoy traveling. You know, I like food. I like seeing and meeting people, but most of all, I like music. I like being on stage. I like representing the music that we make. I like representing the things that we stand for, you know, and I guess I would hope to never stop doing that.
I guess the one commonality amongst all of us is that we're all kind of artists and we're all really motivated about music. And if you look around the studio, it's not the most flashy studio. So the message that we spit is, I guess, the art form being kind of unconventional in some way, which is similar to your music. I guess you've been spitting quite an unconventional message, but at the same time you've experienced great success. What do you think of the hip-hop game at the moment? Looking at the pop charts, it's quite formalized hip-hop that's at the top.
I mean, I don't really pay attention to the charts. I think hip-hop is in an amazing place right now, though. I think that when you have people like Kanye West and Lil Wayne who have become pop icons,
right?
And those two guys are very eccentric for a pop icon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go back, 10, 15 years ago when Puffy was the pop icon, he wasn't the most eccentric. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kanye is a weirdo.
Lil
Wayne is a weirdo.
Yeah.
And this is having a trickle-down effect into other aspects of hip-hop, including the underground. And what I think it's doing is it's freeing people up to be able to be weirdos inside of what they do, and I think that's going to make for really interesting music in the years to come. You know what I mean? It's like, it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm not feeling this guy or this guy because they watered down their this, or they're too mainstream, or whatever labels you want to give in order to like prove what your identity is. But at the end of the day, if you really just take a look at the overall picture of where hip-hop is going, I think having those two guys, Kanye and Lil Wayne, as pop icons. I mean, we're not talking about hip-hop. We're talking about these guys are like bigger than hip-hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're influencing tons of kids. You know what I'm saying? In a way that I think, even when you look at the Odd Future movement, I think part of that exists because of Lil Wayne and Kanye. You know what I'm saying? And so to see where this could go is really interesting.
So what do you reckon about Odd Future as a whole in terms of, do you consider them to be kind of hipster rappers, or?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what hipster even means anymore. You know what I mean? When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, hipster wasn't a bad word. Hipster was like a carryover from, like, when you read a book about Miles Davis, they talk about hipster jazz guys, and it wasn't a bad word, Whereas nowadays you see the word hipster and you think, oh, that's a bad word. You know what I mean? But I don't know. But what I would say about the Odd Future movement is I think that when I was 18, when I was 17, I had Eazy-E to listen to, and he was shocking, and he would say all these crazy things. I think Odd Future is giving that to the 17-year-olds today, and I think that's important. I think that rap music should scare parents, and I think that Odd Future does that. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. I got a few more really quickly. I guess Bass FM, this station is on a similar buzz to what you're doing. We're 100% DJ selection. What is your advice for the little guy that's trying to compete in the big fish market?
don't lie to nobody, especially yourself, but don't lie to nobody. If you gotta lie to somebody, then you're not really making art, you're hustling. And I think that the hustle has gotten more emphasis than the art over the last few years, and we gotta fix that. So my thing is just be honest with everybody, and if you can be honest with everybody and be accepted, then you're a success already. That is success right there.